On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Have you ever asked us yes or no?
Oh, yeah. Back in college, that was a thing. We used to go back and forth about these questions, but this was 12 years
What are they free of, Kay? What are they free of?
pathogen. Yeah, I've definitely asked that in my younger years, usually as a response to someone asking me. So I've never initiated that question. It's always a response, like if back then, oh my goodness, undergrad.
That's bullshit.
Somebody asked me, I'd be like, what about you? Type of thing. So yeah, I've asked it before, but
I know you ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
You gotta do that.
But
we all been a victim to that one.
Victim.
Yeah. Even Kevin Samuels, he like, damn.
Even Kevin Samuels. It's just, I mean, I agree with Lauren and Courtney. It's just not important unless you just want to know if somebody has kids, how many, when, and make sure they're free of pathogens.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Because I mean, I hear what you guys are saying, but then I also see on the flip side where there's men that are calling themselves quote unquote high value men, but are teaching men how to sleep with multiple women in a day. And that's
low level. Honestly, right. Courtney, I'm gonna be real with you. That's low. That's some low frequency. Like if a dude, if a guy is saying maybe he doing that for money, maybe that's a part of his business or something like that. But on the real, dudes that's really got options that's getting it like that, they're not even tripping off that. Like that's not even something that they even thinking about. They're not even chasing it like that. It's just available.
Well, listen, the other thing I think that in this last week, we have to start questioning. So, Courtney, when you say these are men calling themselves high value men, usually men don't attach that title to themselves. There's people who vet you to say who and what you are in the group. So if these men are identifying themselves as high value men, anybody can get on YouTube. And again, shout out to you, Anton. Obviously we've been supporting and following you and seeing what you've been doing in terms of some of the conversations that you've been having on certain platforms that are outside of the norm for those platforms, right? It's not an echo chamber, and certain people have been getting exposed. And so a lot of dudes are out here. You're not who you say you are. When the rubber meets the road and your foot is held to the fire, you're not who you say you are. So for those dudes, that spew this rhetoric and this nonsense about being able to sleep with, multiple women in a day, them what we call dirty dick Rodneys, right? And to Anton's point, we do. Well, in Chicago, if you ever watched Awakening, there was a guy on there named Rodney, and we call him Dirty Dick Rodney. But anyway, one of the things, I know the Awakenings. I'm sorry. Go YouTube it. But and Anton, not to steal your thunder, but I am, because it's my birthday and I'm toasting. One of the things that he's highlighted on these platforms is that as men, right, you cannot be contributing to the same thing that you are speaking out against. So you can't be out here claiming bodies, laying these women down, and then teaching other men how to lay these women down. And then you go out here and you saying there's no available women out here. She's for the streets, all this other stuff. And you out here dirty dick Rodney. It doesn't make sense.
I'm going to just tell you like this. I don't know a guy that's like high profile or getting to the bag at a significant clip. I mean, have any level of ethical character that's just letting any woman come in his sphere. Like we're just as protective of our image. You know what I'm saying? Like ain't nobody just coming around. Like even my great friends will be like, what the piss is she doing here?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Every little scratch and sniff and claw is not walking into the crib. Like that is not like we protective of where we live. We protective of who we seen with. Like we will never catch a picture with you. Like a lot of the guys that I know, even the single ones, like they have such a high profile position that they won't even let you have your phone around them. Honestly, that's real talk. So I don't even know who these guys are that's walking around on this low frequency talking about, yo, I'm gonna sleep with multiple women. Yeah, right. Like, I wouldn't know who would risk the bag like that.
So then,
and put themselves in a position to have to mess up their money.
I want to ask a question
mess
for
up
the
their
ladies.
profile.
Go ahead, real quick, Kate, and I'm asking a question
Okay.
for the ladies.
So I mean, we've been on this show for a long time. I've been here.
Really?
I've heard I've heard a lot of talk about exercising options and how it's okay and all this. It just seems like these two ideologies aren't really lining up directly. So Anton, if you could expound upon that, because you can't on one hand be like, we don't do this, we're not risking the bag, but then on another
I'm not saying
hand,
that they're doing it, you just got the
no,
option.
I'm asking.
I'm gonna break it down with her.
In terms of exercising options, so like, where is the balance between that? How do you reconcile them?
The exercise and options conversation is based off of the fact that, let's just say, for example, you got a guy and he's very, very, very high value, right? He understands that if he does something, there's a huge chance that he's going to be just fine and she's not going nowhere. He has the option to do what he want to do when he don't want to do when he want to do it. However, most guys, especially when you get to that level, have a level of dick discipline, even if they get caught up in a situation or even if they find themselves in a compromised position. Understand that compromised position was one of many that he probably walked away from, turned down, was very careful about who he vetted. He might have ran into a situation or got caught up or whatever like that. But the point still remains is that to get to that level, you got to have a level of discipline. Real talk.
So once
the exercising options just means that I have enough power to be able to do what I want to do without having to worry about the fallout to a larger extent, right? For a long time, when we just now starting to see all of the stories with Bill Gates, but he's been rocking out for a very long time without having to worry about that. He just now getting divorced, but it's been rumors and all of this. But still, if a woman think that she just gonna walk up and get with Bill Gates, these chicks that even sleep with the athletes, they gotta camp out in front of their hotel just to even get chosen. Like, they gotta work hard to become an option for him to possibly select. And that's what I'm saying. Guys exercise options, but it does not mean that they don't exercise dick discipline, right? They have the option, but they exercise dick discipline in order to get to the level that they at. It's a difference.
Okay, so it's not about them, the exercising options. It's just the fact that the options are available versus them actually acting on them.
That's correct.
Okay.
And sometimes they do act on them, but it's not with everybody. And it's very calculated and it's careful, and everybody just can't get in their presence. Everybody can't go.
All right, I got a question for the ladies. Appreciate the super chats that came through as well. Make sure y'all get them likes up. Also subscribe to the channel. But for the ladies, we often talk about women and their numbers. What about the men? Does the men body count matter to you guys?
No.
Oh, go ahead.
Doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter. Why?
No. Because I don't care. Just as long as he's clean. But no, I don't expect a man's body count to be small, honestly. I guess maybe the men I like.
That's real spit. That's real spit, though.
So
that's real spit.
Like, does that question ever come up at all with you? Like,
I've never asked.
Never
I never
asked,
asked a man, how many women you been with? And no, I don't care.
Okay. How about you, Lauren? Does the man body count matters?
I've never asked, and I don't care.
What about you, Kay?
No, I mean, I think the most important thing is if you are free.
Have you asked?
Free of any pathogens.
Have you ever asked?
Knowing how many children.
Have you ever asked?
No, not in a serious.
Have you ever asked? Is yes or no?
Oh yeah, back in college, that was a thing. We used to go back and forth about these questions, but this was 12 years.
What are they free of, Kay? What are they free of?
Pathogen. Yeah, I've definitely asked that in my younger years, usually as a response to someone asking me. So I've never initiated that question. It's always a response, like if back then, oh my goodness, undergrad.
That's bullshit.
Somebody asked me, I'll be like, what about you? Type of thing. So yeah, I've asked it before, but
I know you ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
You gotta do that.
But
we all been a victim to that one.
Victim.
Yeah. Even Kevin Samuels, he like, damn.
Even Kevin Samuels. It's just I mean, I agree with Lauren and Courtney. It's just not important unless it, you know, you just want to know if somebody has kids, how many, when, and make sure they're free of pathogens.